How do I 37F get more say in finances with husband 36M?
We have been together for a little over 8 years. My husband has control over everything.
The bank account, credit cards, bills are all in his name. House and cars are in his name.
I have nothing at all in my name.
He did add me to one of his credit cards as an authorized user, but the card stays in his wallet.
I've never actually used it. I have to ask him for money and tell him exactly what it's for. I'm so over this.
He acts like I can't be trusted with money, but I've never given him a reason to doubt me. When we met, I worked full-time and supported my oldest daughter and myself.
I had my own apartment and car. I took care of bills. I wasn't in debt more than a few thousand I owed on my car. It just seems like as soon as we moved in together he took over. I didn't realize how bad it was until it was too late. I've asked him so many times to let me be on things.
Have some more say, but it's always the same.
He agrees and says he will, but nothing actually happens.
What do I do?
We are expecting and it will be my 4th child, 3rd with him,
and I feel stuck. He won't change.
I can't leave.
So what do I do? I should add he is high-functioning autistic. A lot of what he does isn't necessarily to be a dick. It might be because he struggles with change. You do realize you don't need his permission to get and keep a job, right?
You also don't need his permission to open your own bank accounts. I know he will make things hard at home.
Just tell him this is the way it has to be, since he refuses to trust you and treat you as his equal partner financially.
It's this or divorce, his choice. His autism is not an excuse. You are being financially abused.
You can leave, talk to a lawyer and get what you're owed.
You have worked before, you can do so again. There is a way out if you want it. It's called financial abuse.
You're a dependent and you have no income and 4 kids. If you're in the US, you can call United Way 211 and get connected to a women's shelter to help you make an exit plan. But this is how he wants it and you have no leverage. As soon as possible, I'd get a job and open my own bank account.
I'd start squirreling money away if you can, too. Stop asking him for permission. Insist. It may take an ultimatum, since I see in the comments he's continuing to refuse.
This isn't healthy or safe. You need your own money and/or full access to your joint accounts.
Should you be having baby number 4 in this scenario?
You can leave.
You call a woman's shelter. There are loads around the world that deal with this.
Get the ball rolling with them and listen to their advice.
He's using Finis as a form of control and abuse. If you're in the UK, I can give you contacts. Seems like your husband likes to have control over you, keeping you under his palm. It seems quite toxic to me. Since you can't leave him, try being insistent on getting your own bank account and being able to have your own money on it. You can let him check what you spend it on, if you need to go for a middle ground. If you manage your finances well, he will trust you more with finances.
I, M23, found out my ex, F33, was married the whole time.
Do I tell the husband? Too long did not read.
Found out my long-distance ex of 2 years was married the whole time and disappeared offline after getting pregnant with another kid to her husband.
Should I tell the husband she's been cheating on him for years?
Her having kids is the only thing stopping me currently, as I don't want them to have a broken home. I realized that I might not have been clear in what the relationship was like.
We called and video called often.
It was very flirty and sexual. We exchanged photos and videos and she would often say how she loves me and wants to be together, but that it was difficult with COVID and me being in university at the time, so we would have to wait until an appropriate time.
It was as much of a relationship as it could be in an online setting. Also, this isn't for some personal revenge or to hurt her back. If it was, I would have told everyone she knew instantly when I found out. While I was very hurt and betrayed over the time she took from me and leading me on, this is about the husband and the children and whether it would be better for them to know or not. I also understand that this is not the same as a full-blown IRL relationship, but a married woman telling someone else that she loves them for 2+ years, sending sexual photos and videos while also having sexual video calls with them is definitely cheating on her husband. During COVID and lockdown, I, M23, met my ex, F33, gonna give her the random name Sarah for this, in an online situation which I know that some people will disregard as not being a genuine thing, and that's fine, whatever.
But it was during lockdown, so I was stuck inside most days, and I'd just gone through 2 very shitty relationships with people that were local. I wasn't planning on anything online at all, but we just clicked and stayed talking for a while. Anyway, Sarah and I ended up being a thing for about 2 years, and we both seemed pretty committed to the idea of meeting up and being a genuine part of each other's lives. We would talk for hours all day, nearly every day, and she had kids that she would tell me about all the time, and I even played Xbox with them sometimes, so they knew I existed too, which is what makes it all a bit more confusing with what did eventually happen. Now, there have always been some unusual parts about the whole situation which at the time I did brush off as I was in a pretty bad place mentally and it was lockdown, so I think I subconsciously wanted to tell myself things were okay just so I didn't have the possibility of being lonely. For starters, I was 19 when I met Sarah and she was a 30-year-old parent of 2 that she didn't initially tell me about having kids until a couple of months after we started talking, but her having kids didn't bother me, it was more the secrecy of it all at first.
She would also be very quiet on weekends and less active compared to weekdays where she was never offline and always talking to her friends and I.
She also tried to keep her friends on there separate from me as she felt there would be drama as some of them didn't like me for some unspecified reason despite me never speaking to them. After about 2.5 years of being a thing and making all these plans, things got a bit bumpy and we would talk less, and this went on for a few weeks, but we just put it down to being busy and her getting a new job that required her to be in an office.
We still talked when we could though, and that was still every day, just not as much, and we never steered from being a thing.
Then one day she just vanished without a word, never replied to any of my messages, never came back online again.
Just nothing at all.
So I start panicking and thinking, oh my God, has something happened to her?
Is she dead?
Which I feel is understandable considering she had disappeared without a word. A few weeks go by and I still hear nothing. I've checked obituaries and things where I had her as a friend elsewhere to see if she'd been on, and nothing. It was kind of driving me crazy not knowing what happened to her at all. Then one day I remembered she had a Facebook account, which I had never had an account myself, so I decided to make one and search her name.
I found her Facebook account, and that also led to me finding out just what had happened. It turned out that Sarah had still been married the entire time and her husband worked at some oil place that kept him away from the home in the week.
Not only did I find out that she was still married, it turned out that the reason she did just disappear one day was because she had become pregnant with another child of his. I was so angry and hurt that she had happily wasted 2+ years of my life for her own entertainment, and I tried contacting her to tell her I knew what she had done and that she'd been a liar the whole time, to no response. Then a few months later, she's back online and doesn't respond to a single thing I've said, and she starts going about her life like she owed me nothing, no apology, no real explanation.
I had to confront her about it when she was online after a year of being gone, and all I got was more lies and self-pitying answers.
I'm torn on whether or not I should tell her husband that she had been cheating online for years and leading me on into being a part of it unknowingly, and honestly I think I probably wasn't the only person she did it with, considering how she kept me separate from people and how easy it seemed to be for her to keep up a lie. The only thing that stopped me telling him is her kids, as I don't know if it's fair for their home to be potentially broken up over something that they didn't do. So, should I tell her husband?
Question. Was it just talking on a computer, or was there video chats and sexting, picture swaps? I don't understand how anyone thinks these online things are proper relationships, and I promise, not being a smartass, I don't chat on Discord or anything like that, no video game playing, so other my comments on Reddit, all my social interactions are in person. Yes. I think the husband deserves to know just as much as you did. She needs to learn her actions have consequences.
Dude, just move on.
The thing is, you think she was only speaking to you. No. You let this go and learn a lesson about online and long-distance quasi-relationships. She never took you seriously.
You were a distraction and much more invested than she was.
That sucks, and I know it hurts.
Tell her husband, and she says you were just some kids she became friends with, flirted with, who took things too seriously.
She'll cry and say she was lonely but never really did anything.
Who knows what he'll do, but it's really not worth breaking up a marriage. Maybe she'll do that on her own later, but I wouldn't want to be a part of that.
Yes, you were her entertainment in her emotional affair. Spouse needs to know.
Make sure it was not someone catfishing and using her name and photos. I, 41M, found hidden photos of a colleague on wife's, 41F, phone. Have I been betrayed?
First ever post looking to get advice. This started 3 years ago and remains distressing and unresolved. My wife of 11 years and I had been out for a wonderful day with our kids watching cricket.
When we got home I was looking at photos and was aware wife had taken some of me and the kids too. Spotted her phone next to me, so opened it to look at photos.
We had never been secretive with phones, so didn't give any thought about secrecy, privacy, etc. Looking through recent photos, there were several of her in our garden looking seductive and partially undressed over the preceding few weeks. There was a series of 4 selfies taken over a period of about 10 minutes the previous week.
One in bikini frowning, one in bikini smiling, one bikini top off but lay on front smoldering and breasts partially covered, no nipples on show, one over-shoulder selfie with pants off so can see bum over her shoulder. Having never before dug through her phone or even wanted to, my instant reaction was one of excitement that she was feeling sexy and had taken these.
I got excited that there may be more and more explicit in her hidden folder.
I opened up her hidden folder to find about 16 photos of her male work colleagues, various of him in his garden smiling selfies, one without a shirt on, one where he is in her car in work clothes and she has taken the photo of him smiling.
There were no other pictures in the hidden folder, just him. I got a huge shock and was fairly instantly crushed.
I shut the phone and put it down, immediately feeling guilty for looking in the first place.
I kept quiet for a day or so while I stewed on it. I got some evidence of the photos of her but didn't think to get the photos of him.
As I thought about it, I convinced myself she was cheating on me and that I needed to confront her as we were likely to need to divorce.
2 days after seeing the photos I confronted her about it. Initially she denied knowing anything about it. She kept this up for a while. She claimed she had no idea why or how these photos were in the hidden folder. Prior to this incident we had an okay sex life, however she never initiated sex and was quite passive and prudish, never really offering much when I tried to mix things up or find out what she liked. I had always just assumed that she was more sexually repressed than me, and I loved her so much and was so certain she was committed to me that I was totally accepting of our different levels of sexual desire. Having found the photos and confronted her, we had lots of long conversations with her, ultimately apologizing for hurting me, but not acknowledging that she had done anything wrong. Still claiming no idea why or how the photos were in a hidden folder. The conversations were long and quite fatiguing, and after some weeks I basically accepted her apology and we agreed to work on our difference in sexual desire. Over time, life and kids and routine returned to more normal. However, every day since then I still think about the betrayal I felt. Our sex life is effectively exactly the same as it was before this. We still get on well most of the time and we have 3 wonderful kids still who are none the wiser. In the 3 years since, there have been 2 further periods when I have not been able to ignore my hurt any longer. The last time was October last year when I felt obliged to go to a work do where the colleague she had hoarded photos of was also going. I told her I felt really uncomfortable but I agreed to go. Afterwards I was unable to think clearly and we had to revisit things again. At this point, over 2 years after the initial incident, she changed her story about why she had put the photos in the hidden folder, admitting she did feel attracted to him but there was nothing else which happened. She stated her attraction was based on how loving he was with his family and how much he talked about them at work and how much he focused on them. I'm writing now because I still can't let it go. I love her deeply and don't want to lose her. However, I don't think she has any sexual desire for me and may be stringing me along, though I'm not sure why, as I have calmly given her multiple opportunities to walk away or change the relationship. I don't think she has done any more photo, text, emotional cheating, but she remains sexually very cool and reluctant with me. It's really hard to be objective and make sensible decisions. I'd really welcome a thoughts from people who have been in a similar situation. Have I been cheated on? Am I right to feel betrayed? How can I get her to open up and be honest about why she is sexually cold with me but sexually adventurous in her own photos and stored pictures of her colleague in the hidden folder? Too long did not read. Wife hiding photos of her male colleague on phone. Have I been betrayed? Is it worth attempting salvage? Can you ever forgive her? I wouldn't be able to. It would always be in the back of my mind about the cheating, whether it was physical or just emotional. Good luck. She's cheating on you to at least some degree and gaslighting you over it. Hidden folder full of another guy don't just pop up on our phone by accident. She was sending him sexy selfies, so at the very least she's having an emotional affair.
If she can't come clean and admit the truth, then think about a divorce lawyer so you don't waste any more of your time with someone who isn't committed to you.
She cheated and you blew it off.
Yay, she cheated. Yes, she's lying. You already know that and chose to let it go. That doesn't usually work, and the betrayal will always be there, especially when you bury your head and pretend it was nothing. That's what you did. She's a liar. It's absurd to claim you don't know why photos are in your phone, let alone some dude she works with sending sexy photos.
She's trickle-truthing you.
Yes, a loving husband who sends another man's wife sexy photos and get her to do the same, started an emotional affair that is now wrecking that marriage. She needs to know it was betrayal. Find the 7 ways friends lead to infidelity. It's a list of things they go through. His spouse needs to know. She needs to know I'm your head. It could have been physical at work, out of the way.
I would have confronted the colleague in front of his wife asking, "So how does your wife feel about you exchanging sexy pictures with my wife? Honestly, you have let this go on for too long." I would contact a lawyer and initiate a divorce. She's lying face and not remorseful at all, which means she's still cheating, just being smarter about it.
You deserve better. Girlfriend, 24 female, called me, 27 male, unreasonable for expecting her to cancel plans with friends?
It's my birthday next month and my partner and I have made plans to celebrate it.
My birthday is on the Sunday and we've planned to go to a bar we like for a quiz on the Friday before and then go for a night away on Saturday.
Nothing's actually been booked yet.
My girlfriend has recently gotten in contact with 2 old friends she hasn't seen in a while and they've met up a few times for drinks. My girlfriend went out with them a couple of weeks ago and they spoke about going to bottomless brunch sometime next month.
She said there was only one Saturday they could all make it, so her friend is going to book it. I asked what Saturday and she said the date.
I pointed out it was the Saturday we have planned, so she can't actually make it.
She asked if we could move our plans to another weekend, but I said no since it was meant to be for my birthday.
I said she can just tell her friends she's already busy that weekend and reschedule.
She just said that she doesn't know when her friends will be free next, so it would probably be easier to move our plans. I just again reminded her it was supposed to be for my birthday and it hurts that she'd rather go out drinking with friends. She said that's not true, but I pointed out she's refusing to actually consider moving the plans with her friends, so it is true. I said she shouldn't have made plans for a weekend, that she was busy and that she'll just have to apologize to her friends. She said I was being too unreasonable and should be open to moving the plans instead of expecting her to cancel with her friends. Does anyone have any advice on how to handle this? Too long did not read. My girlfriend and I had plans next month for my birthday. She made plans with her friends on the same day and expected me to be fine with moving our plans. When I said she should be rearranging plans with her friends and not me, she said I was being unreasonable. This is a worrying sign, my guy. You do not want to become the guy she can always cancel or reschedule on. That only leads in one direction. If she feels comfortable making plans with friends on a day she already has plans with you, then she doesn't respect or value you and your time. You should definitely stand your ground here. Or, Imho, just walk away. She has already made it clear how she feels about the relationship. You might want to change the title to, "My girlfriend called me unreasonable for expecting her to stick with plans we already made." When you phrase it like that, do you feel unreasonable? If my girlfriend would rather spend time with her friends on my birthday than participate in the plans we had already made, that would tell me everything I need to know about the state of the relationship. She had already reserved the date to spend with you. Canceling with you after that in favor of someone else is her displaying the manners of a barn animal. The fact is that it was not the only weekend that they were all free. She had plans to go out of town that day and should have said so or let them know later she forgot. If both of you had plans to do something simple like see a movie, that is one thing to ask you to reschedule. A trip out of town, particularly to celebrate your birthday, is something quite different. Certain events carry more significance to people than others. Some people celebrating their birthday carries more significance, and that is fine and in this case should be respected. The bottomless brunch will also be there the following weekends. Make plans with a different girl. One that respects you.